Hey, if you want to watch a great podcast that none of us are on, check out Best Movies Never Made. Available every other Monday from screenwriter Josh Miller and producer Steven Scarlatta as they go behind the scenes of some of the greatest movies never made with fantastic guests like
Steve Melching,
Ashley Miller,
and a lot of other people you have heard of.
And not Darren Doctorman.
Yet.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe you'll be on the show. They just invited me to be on an episode about James Bond. I wonder why. Maybe it's because I have a new book out called Nobody Does It Better, The Oral History of James Bond, available now wherever you get your books.
You must learn to listen to the rebel and the rogue, or you will not be allowed to come with me to Alderaan.
Hey, this is Mark A. Altman of the 430 Movie. I'm here with
Steve Melching,
Darren Doctorman,
Ashley Miller.
You know, and if you want to know what Ashley's pick out of the box is, you owe it to yourself to watch the 430 Movie live. You should see the expressions. The
Live
only
on
way
tape.
to understand the kinds of faces we're making when Ashley does Wednesday is
Right.
to watch us on Electric Now. It's one thing to hear us, but you can't see the expressions on our face.
you can't hear disbelief.
Coming soon, our new podcast, Ashley Does Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday.
Hey, this is Mark A. Altman.
And this is Darren Doctorman, and we are the Inglorious
Treksperts. And this is Treksperts Briefing Room. Spotlighting Shades of Grey from the second season of Star Trek The Next Generation. Originally aired July 15th, 1989.
Now it's
and our
not-
special guest, Ashley Edward Miller.
We have Ashley here, but we don't really know how many shades of gray there are at this
There are
point.
so many.
Well, you know what's funny? They had joked, obviously this was never going to happen, about calling this episode Riker's Brain.
That's a great title.
Well, you know, it is all about this
But what is
virus
brain?
threat.
Well,
The
it's
Givers of
one,
Pain and
it's
Delight
one
now.
shade of gray.
Yeah, it's a very, very light shade of gray.
A lighter
Well, I
shade.
have to tell you, I'm very excited about this. You know, we're not curating the best episodes. We're not curating the worst. We're curating the underseen, the underappreciated. And I have to be honest, I have not seen this episode in over 30 years. I have not seen this episode since it first aired.
It's like
I
being
never watched
reunited
it
with an
again.
old friend who you.
And it feels so good.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled to be watching this and to be watching it with you two. So it'll be interesting. Normally, we like to prepare. Sometimes we'll watch the episode again before we do the commentary, so we can sort of get our thoughts together. I have not looked at this. I have not thought about this. I have done no research. I'm just letting it wash all over me because I can't wait for Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
I should have called Frank. I should have called Frank to come do commentary with us. I bet he would have been game too.
That would have been amazing.
Probably would have.
Actually. He's the best thing in the
Yeah.
episode.
Well, maybe we'll do it again with Jonathan Frakes.
Well, the great thing is he's asleep during the whole episode, so
That's true. He wouldn't have much to say. We should have gotten Diana Muldown.
that would have been fun. Then we could also talk about, is there in truth no beauty?
Yeah.
I didn't interview her for 50-year mission.Ed Gross did, but she was an interesting interview. Apparently, Diana
I'm
Muldown.
sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, she definitely. She definitely
Does she have opinions?
has. She definitely has opinions, and definitely I think has a strong sense of self. And I don't think there's any great love for the other people in the cast. I think they didn't want her there, and she knew it, and she had no love for them. And I think that she, especially since she was getting more money than them,
Right.
I think it was not a love fest. So anyway, I'm very excited, Ashley. Anything since you're a special guest you want to preface before we start looking at this magnificent episode?
Yeah, I just like to start off by saying this episode is it's an episode, and it happened, and I think we're all going to have to live with that.
Well, as always, we remind you, you can watch along either through your beautiful CBS Blu-ray set, which is the preferred way to watch these episodes. But of course, you can also stream them via Netflix, CBS All Access, Amazon, and and Hulu, I think, all have Star Trek The Next Generation available for streaming. And obviously, we're looking at these commercial free. And when
I think
Darren
free is a great way to watch this episode.
And Darren will count us down, and we will begin the commentary.
Let's begin now. You'll know how to turn the page when you hear Captain Picard say, engage. No, you won't. Here we go. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 22, Shades of Grey. In 3, 2, 1, play.
So this is the last episode of the second season.
The season finale.
The season finale. Yeah, Best of Both Worlds would end season 3. This would end season 2. I cannot think of a less exciting way to end a season. Even season 1 had Neutral Zone, where it ended with the Romulans going, "We're back," right? And
even that was. But this one starts with Riker has a boo-boo.
Riker has a boo-boo, and he's sitting there like a bump on a log.
Right.
What I love is it doesn't even show him getting injured. He's already been injured before the episode starts.
And it's not even that bad.
I know.
It's a scratch.
It's like my son when he comes running up, I need a Band-Aid. I'm like, where? Where was the scratch? Right here. I'm like, I can't even see it. What do you need a Band-Aid for? And then here's Calm Meany slumming. Great actor.
He's taking his paycheck. He's just this is the easiest money I ever made. This is God bless SAG and the day rate. Right?
It's so funny because, of course, the clip show was a staple of television in the 70s and 80s. It was a way that they could save money over these long seasons. So normally a Star Trek The Next Generation episode would be shot over 7 or 8 days. This was shot in 3 days.
Yeah.
By director Rob Bowman.
Including Diana Muldaur.
Now,
exactly.
Because we know this episode had a script and was written in the sense that there were words that were new. Do we know about how many pages of new material there were? Like, how much were they shooting in 3 days?
That's a good question. I do know that Rob Bowman had made them change the script so it only took place in 3 locations. It was the transporter room, the planet set, and sickbay. Originally, it had been written for more locations. And part of the way they went about it was Eric Stillwell, who would later be Michael Pillar's assistant, basically ended up pulling clips that they thought could work for the premise of this episode. He experiences joy, he experiences fear, he experiences, and then they wrote the episode around the clips. So it was Hans Beimler, but mostly Maurice Hurley. This would be the last episode of Star Trek he was involved with before he ankled.
Yeah, and I have this wonderful, it a terrible.
No. I actually did this interview with him.
Oh wow!
And I'll tell you exactly what he told me. Piece of shit, says Maurice Hurley. It was supposed to be a bottle show. Terrible, just terrible. And a way to save some money. I was on the way out the door. I wrote it, and Beimler and Manning did the rewrite. So there you have it. Big fan.
They should have just called the episode "Piece of Shit."
Yeah. Rob Bowman, who of course, Rob Bowman, who is famous, later for doing the X-Files and Castle, and the movie Reign of Fire, also talked to me about this episode back in the day. And he said, all we shot was 3 days of frame, and they just stuck in flashbacks. And the only reason to do it was to save money. That's what it was all about, and it was all we did. I never saw a final cut. All I can say about the show is I shot it in 3 days, and it was a nice set. I told them it was going to take 5 days, not 3, so they tried to pare it down. When they asked, how can you do it in 3? I said, we can't change sets. If you want to get a maximum amount of filming done in 3 days, you can't move me all over the ship. Let's stay in sickbay. I remember spending at least 2 days in sickbay. I tried to be as interesting as I could be with the camera. It didn't seem like we stole their money. It was Paramount saying, we gave you more money for Elementary Dear Data and for the Borg show. That was Q-Who. Now do us a favor and give us a 3-day show. So that's what you do. It's part of television.
I don't know if I would call it a favor. I mean,
Well,
well, yeah, I know. Look, he kind of did. They had to fill out the order because it's not as simple as like I saw that that somebody had made the suggestion that why didn't they just like do 21 and just it doesn't work like that in syndication. It doesn't work like that in anything. Like
every slot is sold.
That's exactly right.
Every week is pre-sold, so you got to give them a new episode.
And this was first run syndication.
Right.
So Paramount was selling part of the advertising time and the local affiliates were. You couldn't suddenly say, oh, we're going to give you one less episode. Now, already this season had been truncated because of the writer's strike this year. So it started late. They got a late start on scripts. And, you know, the season was a bit of a mess in general.
Totally.
And so by the time you get to the end, you know, the only thing that made sense was a clip show, which is amazing because when you think of it, the Menagerie is probably the greatest clip show ever made for Star Trek.
Sure.
And you know, like I said, clip shows were commonplace, whether it be $6 Million Man or I always point to A Blast for Buck, where Buck Rogers has to relive memories of previous episodes when he receives a secret message that they confuse with the threat to the Earth from Gary Coleman in Gary Coleman's second appearance on Buck Rogers.
Now, you know, here's the thing that sucks about this. I mean, everything sucks about it, but I just have to provide some context for watching this episode for the first time, right? Like, at least Next Generation in the first season had tried to go out with something cool. As you mentioned, it was the Romulans saying, "We are back," right? And like they had like the cool conspiracy thing where they blew up Remek's head, and at least you could sort of look forward to something. So this is before the internet. This is before you knew ahead of time that things were clip shows or they were going to suck, right? So I remember sitting down to watch this and just going, well, this isn't great. And then as it dawned on me that it was a clip show, how angry I became watching it. I mean, the only thing that you can say about, well, you can't say much about it. At least this guy, right? At least Frakes is charming. Right? It's like he brings a sense of humor to it. And the bitter irony of the story is that Frakes having a sense of humor about it is actually killing him faster, which is astonishing. Should we even try to recap the plot of this thing? No. Does it matter?
No, because people are watching it. But what happens is he has to experience these memories. And we have this great bit where he experiences, you know, all the women, the succession of beautiful women and relationships. But it's killing him because he's happy. Right. So he has to be sad.
It's not just that.
I recapped it.
It's like Troy, and we're going to get to the scene, but Troy's kind of like looking, he's experiencing these feelings of great joy, and Pulaski's like, is it erotic? And she's like, very much so. And I'm like, why do you need to be an empath to figure that out? Just look down the blanket, right? Is this phaser on kill or what?
There's a 52% less blood supply to his brain.
That's right. He's dying.
I have to say this was a great set, the transporter room.
Sure, for sure. With the background based on Herman Zimmerman's sweater.
They used the crap out of it here. And these are some nice finds. Now, what I also, we actually missed, I think, these guys, before they go off on this little away mission, they have this whole conversation. I swear it takes 4 minutes for them to explain why they're going down to the planet.
Sure.
Right? Well, it's like, wouldn't you just, I don't know, just cut to them arriving on the planet and collecting everything and just...
And you know if there is some kind of deadly something on the planet and they go traipsing into the water, you know, thigh deep,
then you don't know what did it.
But the funny thing is, originally Data says he wants to go himself, which makes sense because he's the android. But Geordi's like, I know where it happened. I have to go with you.
What? They didn't have like GPS on Riker's freaking tricorder, his communicator. They can be like, oh, I wonder where it happened. Yeah, it's a silly conversation. It also made me think, you know, God, it must be these like survey missions must be incredibly dangerous. Why would you send humans at all?
I know, you know, now you just send a drone down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
where's Bobek, right, to handle that? And
why wouldn't you just send down some red shirts? Why are you sending down the top two people on
like
the
Picard?
Exactly.
I love the way it's all happening in the transporter room.
Yeah.
Because once you know what's going on, it's really fun. Like, why aren't they in his ready room? Well, because that would be a company move.
Because we'd have to, like,
set up the cameras there.
well, thank goodness you didn't put it in the container before you beamed up.
We don't know what it does or what it is.
Well, would you like to discuss this in your office, Captain? No,
I don't think we need that. We don't need to go to that much trouble, Mr. Data.
I can have your fish brought down here if you'd like. It's just. Oh my God!
I always love seeing on these Blu-rays the makeup rubbed onto Brent's collar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm thinking about that too, right? Can you imagine Spiner going, I had to get in makeup, spend 3 hours in that chair this morning to do this?
He was still happy to be working. This was still early.
This wasn't like the next generation. Yeah, it was still
Right. And I mean, and again, that's like the thing. It's like, why do people have such a negative feeling about the first 2 seasons of Next Gen? This really, I think, by ending the season with an episode where the whole summer you would stew over how bad the finale was, it contributed to how much people hated those first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And why they were so ready in the 3rd season to embrace the show, because it just hit this new low.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Dr. Pulaski's uniform is a darker shade of blue than they used in the first season.
It's because
never noticed that
darker personality.
Maybe just because of her coloring. Because
it just didn't work as well with her.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's interesting.
Riker,
but
having strange
I mean, what I don't understand is why they didn't at least like move this. I guess they were on such a tight post schedule, because I would have moved this up and shown this as like the penaltimate episode or the episode before, and then
flipped it with Maritn Snare, which at least was pretty good.
Maybe
performance was the previous episode, right? Am I right?
Yeah, any of those would have been better.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they just got stuck, and by the time they got around to fixing all the other stuff, this had come up, and they couldn't do anything.
I mean, that's absolutely possible, but you never want to end the season with the clip show.
No, or start the season with a clip show. Or if you can avoid it, do a clip show at all, unless you're doing the menagerie. Like, unless there's like, look, I've had to write clip shows before. I've written like 2 of them. They're a pain in the ass, right? You've got to make them at least feel like drama. You really have to think. And even then, you still feel a little dirty for doing it.
This is not a good angle on Frakes.
No, it's really not. It's straight up the nostrils. It's like a shuttle bay. What's happening there?
No, it's more impressive as a creative exercise, writing them, than actually watching them. Nobody wants to watch them, but writing them, there's a certain amount of credit you deserve. I mean, even this, how are we going to use the clips? Well, he's infected by a deadly virus that can only be repelled, and it's on its way to his brain. So these emotions.
So we have to stimulate his memories, and his memories are clips.
So, I mean, that inherently is not an awful.
It's not
MacGuffin,
It's just that it's all in the I don't know. There's nothing beyond exactly what it is, and there's nothing for these actors to play. I mean, I don't know whether I think that the acting in this episode is awful or if I actually think it's pretty great, because the actors are at least trying to do something. Like right, like poor Marina is just at sea. She has no idea.
But she was at sea for a long time. I mean, even into the 3rd season, they're really not writing much for her. They never knew how to write that character. It was tough. It really wasn't until later that they really even got a handle on her.
Yeah, very true.
What's going on in here?
Oh my God. I mean, look, and even sickbay, it's not the sickbay, obviously in the original series, is just so much cooler looking.
Yeah. It's lit like a sitcom, like in this episode. It's just all is. It's so hot.
Well, that was always the problem with Next Generation as a whole. And I think the Blu-rays have helped because the color timing has darkened it a little bit, but it was always so brightly lit. And that's where, it gets the reputation of like, oh, the bridge looks like a Holiday Inn,
Right.
Because
it's lit like one. Yeah.
It's because it's lit like one.
And there's a concierge desk in the corner.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What is she?
Much joy and gratitude.
peace and contentment.
And he's like, yeah, it's like he's, God bless him. He's like, he's trying to be philosophical about his impending death that nobody believes is going to happen. But it's like, but I want to hear Riker like when, man, I was always ready to die, but this is not how I imagined going out.
They don't even put him
battle or something.
They don't even put him into a hospital gown.
I was just going to say that, Derek. I would just notice. Like, I love
and his pants are still ripped. There's no dressing on his wound. There's nothing. He's just lying there.
Dr. Pulaski is the worst doctor.
She's terrible. What is happening?
She's not terrible. He saved Captain Picard's life. So
maybe if he dies, I can get Corbin Bernsen on this show.
But you could get Corbin Bernsen on this show.
And they had him on this show.
Yeah. Oh, look at her. She's so upset.
She is.
Riker's going
to lose her Imzadi, and then she's going to have to go hang out with Worf.
Oh.
Then they'll really have nothing to do with her on the show if they can't write the Ilea Decker relationship.
Here's the torture of the 7 pins.
Wait, now they took his pants off, guys.
Oh, my God. Are they trying to find out, where the secret base is for the rebels or something?
Right.
Oh, my God. It's like
there's that cabaret. There's that art department cabaret that they put tape on. I have one of those. I mean, not one that was on the show.
Seriously, oh my God, it looks like she's interrogating the princess.
Yeah.
Jesus, oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, this is
or doing acupuncture.
Yeah, her eyes light up all red like she's the devil. I dig that. That's cool.
They could have saved the day if they just got rid of this and did it with a
scanner of some kind. But no, this scanner. Then they'd have to have visual effects put a doohickey in.
A doohickey.
Oh my God, she's going into his cranium.
And she is like, ooh, shiver.
What do you think Frakes is thinking right now?
He's thinking, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid.
Easiest day of work ever.
He slept through the whole thing. I'm pretty sure.
He's actually, he is actually charming when he has lines to deliver in this episode. I have to give him that. He's great. He's like one of the unsung heroes.
I thought you were going to say he's actually charming when he has needles through his head.
Well,
look, he's somebody who doesn't get enough credit for what he brought to the show.
For sure.
Because obviously, like Data, on his quest for humanity, and Picard was such a different kind of character for Next Generation. And of course,
Picard's quest to never leave the show.
Yes. But, really, Riker in a way was the heart of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Here's our first memory of The Last Outpost.
Yes.
The Last Outpost.
Our first
let's see if we can name all the clips.
Disappointing aliens of all time.
No.
Remember they built up the Ferengi?
Let's not go into that.
They as tasty as that last.
They have enormous cod pieces. They're very exciting. New characters.
They're like very, very
anybody. Small. Terrible.
God, it just reminds you how bad some of these season 1 episodes are. I mean, The Last Outpost is terrible, and of course, this is the Planet Hell set. Yeah. And this is when they were still doing the attempting to do it like the original series and not doing it well.
Anybody!
Wow, that was a great clip.
That was a great clip.
I think what's great about that clip selection is that it really illustrates Riker's sense of isolation and his feeling of being alone while he faces death all by himself on planet Hell while being stared at by Marina and
wow, how do you like having to write an act out for this episode?
Jesus. Oh my God.
Yeah, but still great graphics.
Totally. Always. Look, you can't argue. There are a lot of things you can't argue with on this show. That's one of them.
Wait a minute. There's a new clip coming in.
Okay. Yeah. This one's porn. This is what's happening here. Well, there actually is a scheme for how the clips are arranged because the virus microbe, or whatever the hell it is, the COVID-19 that's inside of him, like reacts differently to different. Yeah, COVID 1701 reacts differently to different sorts of emotions, which they have to find out. So different clips have different effects. Like, for example, the pilot
encounter at Farpoint
is that the emotion that evokes is incredible disappointment.
Now, young minds, fresh ideas. Be tolerant.
See, but what a difference when they actually go and shoot somewhere on location as opposed to try and recreate a forest on set.
Right. Because that actually does look great. Even though that's
because this actually was the location.
Yeah. And I find that Data in this
he's shot in front of a green screen.
Right, he totally is. And then they do that when they turn around.
But the stuff with Data is all
is all real.
Yeah. And Spiner's performance, I think, is actually very different. He's a little more human.
Well, I think he's really struggling to find the role at first.
Yeah.
And he eventually does. Obviously, he's great in the show.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But he definitely...
Got to make sure we get that insert of Riker almost falling in the water, which I guess was like to illustrate how real the holodeck was.
No, we need to set up young Wesley falling in for later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like it's a joke.
Right.
It's a setup and a punchline. And Wesley is the punchline.
Always.
This is just, I remember watching this the first time thinking, this is just the weirdest.
Way to introduce a major character.
He's very, and he's super smug when he finishes that Pop Goes the Weasel. What's he so smug about?
Because
I always loved
beardless Riker is kind of an ass.
Yeah.
And they always have the stupidest songs. It's like in First Contact where they're playing Steppenwolf, Magic Carpet Ride. It's like, come on. I mean, it's like, Pop Goes the Weasel.
Well, would you
rather them
ride with like Pop Goes the Weasel?
Would you rather them play Pop Goes the Weasel in First Contact?
Exactly.
Is my question.
See, if Data had been jamming out to like Magic Carpet Ride, when Riker showed up, I'm like, this show's badass. I'm in. Didn't see this coming at all. Now, Data doesn't have a cat. He's got a heavy metal collection.
It's really hard to tell what the difference is between the look of Data here and the way he appears in just a couple episodes later, and I can't put my finger on it.
I think it's in the eyes.
Maybe.
It's like he's got a little more, and it's a little darker in the brow. He's a little more Marcel Marceau happening. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's like, it is different though. It's a little unsettling, honestly. I like his hair.
My lovely day alone with Mr. Data.
In HD. Oh, okay, look, it's a clip from is this from the Dauphin? Like Wesley's trying to figure out how to pick up chicks?
Very good.
Yep, I do believe so. Very good. You got that, second season, the Dauphin, Yep. That's right. When he finds out that the girl that he loves is actually this weird alien.
Is Maya.
Welcome to Star Trek, kid. It's like the girl that you love is always a weird alien. Dr. McCoy's like, let me tell you about it.
It's amazing. People really hated Wesley at the time. I didn't mind. The thing that people forget is he was the one real star, him and LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
LeVar Burton had been a star from Roots, of course, and Will Wheaton from Stand By Me. Nobody else on the show was a big star. I mean, obviously Whoopi Goldberg would be later, but when she comes on second season. But first season, there was no one who really anyone knew.
I don't know what Riker is supposed to be teaching Wesley in this scene. Because
not much.
He's teaching him that Riker's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, but like the dialogue back and forth is like I don't believe a word of the banter between them at all. I mean, yeah.
You know what? It's no Charlie X. Let me tell you that.
Well, Charlie is our darling. So
if you want to know how to, you got to go to the master.
Wesley, there are ways to talk with a bartender that, that ain't it.
Although Whoopi's pretty good here. Like, shut up, kid.
Yeah, Whoopi's good.
Yeah.
Look, Whoopi was a good addition to the show.
Yeah.
If only they had ever known what to do with her in terms of her backstory, which then, they tried to answer in Generations, and it was so unsatisfying. Because he was an interesting, enigmatic character. Particularly in Yesterday's Enterprise, when you find out that, and Q Who, that, she knew the Borg, and she has this weird...
She knows who Q is,
Super great questions, and then the answers sucked, which just proves Elmore Leonard's thing about how questions are always better than answers.
Yeah.
And everything is better than this show.
Feelings are what make us all human.
when does a show ever provide an answer that's better than the question? I can't really think of it.
Yeah, Lost. Oh wait, no.
I'm sorry. Early on, they had no chemistry together.
None at all.
Well, what's so interesting is literally this is just the Decker-Ilea relationship from phase 2.
Right. At this point, yes.
Yeah.
And in second season, they even had episodes from phase 2, like The Child, right?
That's correct.
The Child, and then third season, Devil's Due.
Right.
Right. Which I kind of like, man. Like, that's
I like
a
Devil's
guilty
Due.
pleasure episode for me.
Well, we talked about that on Guilty Pleasures, and I think that might be a good episode to bring into the briefing room one day.
Oh, man, that'd be fun.
I haven't seen that again. I haven't seen that episode in decades either. I'd love to watch that again.
Intensify his memories? Exactly.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing like watching. This is gonna sound awful, but like there's nothing like watching the crappy episodes of this show to remind me how much I love the show.
Well,
Because I can still love the characters in spite of it.
I mean, we talked about, on the original show.
His eyebrows are going.
Oh yeah, that's why.
The Edo planet. This is Justice. Justice.
This is Justice.
Yeah, Justice.
Oh, you should have been here last week.
That's what Frank told me. I was on the set for too short a season. He's like, you should have been here last day. He said, it's a terrible episode, but boy, we love filming it. And I can see why. I mean, this is William Ware Tice quality costume.
It really is. It's Yep, there it is.
The planet of the ball slings?
Yeah, that guy must have been like, did his agent not try to protect him?
110-111-0041, which was actually a really good episode.
Yeah, it is. I love that episode. Terrible title, but I love that episode, and I loved her. Like there was he actually had chemistry with her, and she wasn't real.
Totally.
Minuet.
Yep, Minuet. And very, they had chemistry, and she had that smoky voice, and the Bynars were really imaginative, and they also are a great alien look. This is one of my favorite prosthetics they ever did with the Bynars.
Am I wrong to say that I thought that the Bynars were kind of hot?
Waiting for me.
Maybe I am.
No, I do a Bynar. I mean, it's like my question is it like is it like automatically like a threesome or what's happening with that? What happens?
See, the problem with the clip show is you want to watch the episode that they just
you want to
showed
watch the better episodes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was like, can we go back to 1001001?
I want to see him fall in love with a hologram who may or may not really be alive, and
they're trying to distract the crew to steal the ship. That's cool.
we're back. We're back with a good episode.
They heard us.
I mean, I highly recommend this episode.
And then I think she returned. She did other episodes,
Yeah, she
Carol.
did.
Well, yeah. In the fake Romulan holodeck episode, she was his wife.
Yeah. Right, that's right.
Seems so real.
It wasn't
Thank you.
Of course, this actually came
Future
out of
Imperfect. Future
yes.
Imperfect. Yep.
out of Jonathan telling Gene Roddenberry that he loved playing trombone and that he was a good musician, talented musician. And
why don't we write an episode that can feature you playing the trombone at some point?
I think this is true. This may be the highlight.
Angel
This
One.
and Q are probably the best that Maurice Hurley of the Maurice Hurley episodes.
Yeah, this was
This is Angel One was not. This is Buck Rogers.
Perhaps the worst
definitely.
Bill Tice costume
Of all time.
Although Bill Tice was not on the show anymore.
No, I know, because slowly there was the purge of all the people that worked on the original show. Justman quit at the end of the season, but really retired, but was really pushed out. And then all the people that came, like I think Jimmy Dwyer and
Up the long ladder.
William Tice and
When the Irish invade the Enterprise.
This is just a terrible episode.
Right,
And
but I think Maritn by Melinda
WPIX,
Snodgrass of all people.
Yep. They used to show it on St. Patrick's Day in New York.
Oh my goodness!
Like they thought they were
racist.
being clever. I know, right? They'd never do that now.
She's got she's
a lovely.
This is the episode that had like the pigs and goats on the, like in the shuttle bay.
More tricks for the party.
Oh my! He just dives right in there.
Yeah, he does. He's like, "Hey, girl." Frakes is like, I have the best part on this show.
She's wearing that sweater that was in The Mandalorian, I think.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
It's moving towards his brain.
It's this is the whole he's got a boner moment where it's like, and it's killing him. That's what
it's killing Troy apparently too. Troy's not having it. Why has he thought about me?
He's very aroused. We need to stop this. Oh,
quick, Deanna, hold his hand.
Yeah, that'll help.
Oh my gosh.
Death by Snoo-Noo.
I mean, just look at the coverage.
Look, you can say next time we see Pulaski, look at the piping. The piping is the color of the old uniforms.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe they dyed it. Maybe they just dyed the old uniform, yeah.
Is it a different color or a different material?
Well, both.
Yeah. And they're doing this weird acupuncture on his face.
Yes.
And
God, there it is.
Skin of evil.
Skin of evil. Are we going to do commentary on this too?
Yes. I'm really glad you came down to my planet. Nice to meet
Now
you.
remember,
No.
the villain is called Armis after producer Burton Armis, who was an old police officer in New York. Who
also has a character named for him in Superman.
That's right.
Superman.
No, when they're in the tunnels, and he goes, "Come on, Armis."
Armis, come on. Yeah.
It's amazing.
When they
I'll just go back into my slick.
There.
The worst character death of all time. But on the other hand, it kind of gave us yesterday's Enterprise and a nice little moment in Measure of a Man.
Sure.
I have to say, and I've met Denise many times since, and she's lovely. But when I met her on the set first season, she was a miserable. She was awful. She's a miserable. She must have been really unhappy.
Yeah.
Because she was the one person in the cast that I really didn't like that when I interviewed everybody that first season. And so she must have just been so unhappy because I met her, many times since, and she's lovely. But clearly she was not happy.
I had a major crush on Denise Crosby during the first.
Did you? No,
absolutely.
I like cranky girls.
That was part of the problem with the show. I didn't have a crush on any of the women on the show, so I knew that.
Well, I'm sorry, they aren't there for your enjoyment.
That's right.
Oh, now you tell me. I was still hung up on Kirstie Alley from Savik.
Oh yeah. Did she change her hair?
Hadn't noticed.
What is
yes,
happening?
the child.
The child, which was the John Povell script.
Yes.
Or was it?
No. It was. Wait, was that the child? That was the child. Right. Yeah. That's right. Where she has the baby.
Yeah.
And then it leaves her at the end.
Right.
Yep. Abandons the ship
baby.
after it learns what it can about humanity, which was the Phase 2 script that John Povell disowns because they changed it so much.
Right. They changed it.
Yeah, it opened the season 1, and again
season 2.
The season ends terribly and it starts terribly. Rob Bowman directed that also, and I remember he was very proud of that. And that opening crane shot, he wanted to be as cinematic as possible, which was great. But once you get past that first shot, the rest of the episode's terrible.
So second season ends as it begins, like shit.
Now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But look, we know how hard it is
in the second season.
We know how hard it is to make television.
Yes, it is.
And so let's not be too brutal.
Remember, folks,
obviously we can make fun of this episode because it's a clip show.
It's just as hard to make an average episode as a good one. So remember that.
Yeah.
And
this is a good one. I love this.
No, this is
a Matter of Honor, which is a really good episode. This is the Klingon exchange program.
That's right.
Yes.
Because they were like pen pals for months, and then finally, and there's a whole thing at like the homecoming day.
Now is Tony Todd in this one or not until later?
Not. He doesn't show up until third season in Sins of the Father.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was good though, and this is where they introduced Gach.
Yes.
And Frakes was good in this one.
Yeah, Frakes was always good when you actually. I mean, first of all,
give him something to do,
comedy, and give him something to do, and you put him in a place where he can have a little confidence.
Now this is
kind of
Mark.
Swagger.
What's his name? Mark. Damn, because he was in Aliens. He was in Aliens.
This guy?
Yeah.
No, that's Brian something or other from X-Files, who was like one of the big.
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson. Yeah.
Are you sure? I can't hear it.
I would
so I don't
bet
know.
money that that's Brian Thompson.
You'd bet real money?
Thank goodness we don't look up stuff here. 'Cause
No, well, not for this episode.
No.
We're not doing any work for this episode. We're just going to sit here and talk about it extemporaneously. No research, no work, no Lieutenant Yar.
And literally, because we just killed her about 5 minutes ago in a clip.
We did. And
what? Oh! Hey!
You know, my best,
You
the
big
best
jerk.
thing about
Oh,
this moment
oh.
is he smashes him into a panel. He doesn't know what that panel does. He doesn't know if it's important. It's like, oh, great, now we can't go anywhere.
Yeah, that is in fact Brian Thompson as Clag, and he would later be on the show as the Romulan in Enterprise. Oh, now we're talking.
Now we're talking about high
Now,
kicks.
From Conspiracy.
I actually really dig Conspiracy, but this is one of the most awfully staged fights of all time. Because it's like, it's have you ever seen, I think it's like the Blues Brothers, where they have like the stuntman kind of playing the mom with like the mustache and all that other stuff. It's a little like that. Like, it's just.
No, it's terrible. This is Ward Costello as Quinn. Yeah, that's right. Because Riker's, isn't he feigning being one of them now?
Right.
One of the body snatcher people?
Not
Parasites?
yet.
It does like you. I mean, but I like this episode. But this is just
I do
bad.
too.
Like,
I do too.
Wasn't right.
now you know that you're watching this stuntman. Like, the wig doesn't match.
Here comes the kick. Here comes the kick. Oh!
They do a lot of Muay Thai in Starfleet. And then, like, Riker tries crane technique, which is awesome. There is no fear in this dojo. Oh.
I love when the parasite takes over your old decrepit body. It suddenly makes it, the Jackie Chan. It's like suddenly you become powerful and.
Well, but you know what? There's actually an interesting story in that, right? Like, if you really leaned into it, like, wouldn't you, man? Think about it. Oh, Riker, right into the.
Why is this all in master shots?
I don't know. That's the other thing. It's like, who directed this?
Who was it? Cliff Bole?
I think it was Cliff Bole, dude.
It must have been. He's the worst.
He is. Somehow he managed to turn in Best of Both Worlds Part 1.
Yeah, but it's not. Best of Both Worlds is not because it's well directed. Best of Both Worlds is the writing.
Well written and the and the acting is great.
And
those actors.
I now want to know who directed. I got to know who directed Conspiracy. I'm going to look it up because it's bothering me.
Doctor,
it
I
feels
think we should
Cliff
be
Bole.
picking better episodes.
Yeah, no kidding. But
That's how useful she is.
my question is, look at these flat twos, man. Like, why did this actually take?
Because they shot it in 3 days.
I know, but why did it take that long?
Look,
Yeah, well, that's true.
exactly. And it was 1989. They were shooting
That's true.
film on one camera.
That's true. It's not like now. It's like their iPhones.
Now, this sounds like we're really bashing Next Generation. We're
And we're
not.
not.
Just
We're not
this
at all. We love
episode.
Next
I
Generation.
love Next Generation, and I love these characters, and I wanted to pick this episode because in celebrating or putting the sort of the silliness of it, I think it helps me to celebrate the things I love about this show. It's like, this is affection, not derision.
Right.
No, absolutely. Look, everyone would agree. It's the clip show. It's terrible. There's never been a good clip show. It could be any series. It could be Citizen Kane, the TV series. It would not be good if it was a clip show.
Is Citizen Kane technically a clip show?
Tonight, on
I mean, it
the
kind
new
of is.
episode
Okay,
of
can I
Citizen
just
Kane.
say-
Star Trek. Who was it?
We nailed it based on the clip. Cliff Bole directed Conspiracy.
Boom. We are so good at this game.
It's a
We are
gonna
so
win.
good.
It's a cliff show.
I know.
It's a clip show.
Because Rob Bowman and David Carson and Rick Colby were the best. Les Landau and David Livingston were really good.
Yeah.
And then you had a couple of mediocre guys. You know who was good? Oh, the guy who passed away. The guy who did Carnival of Souls. He was terrific. Oh my God, Merritt Buttrick.
Yeah, it's David Marcus.
Symbiosis.
David Marcus.
This is one of the great expressions ever. Look at this look on face. How great is that? And I love the fact.
Who's the dirty farmer?
But look, you know how expensive it was to put that stupid effect?
Yeah.
Like, they could have done this without putting the glow on his hand. But how many frames they had to animate to do that back then? Like,
Here
it
we
was
go.
not worth it.
Oh, here come the Ferengi with their weapons. What are you
Yep,
guys?
here come the Ferengi.
buttheads
This
is like
is
the
amazing.
dick guns.
Who would think that Armin Shimmerman would end up being one of the great Star Trek actor characters
not from this.
of all time. Yeah.
of all time? But yeah, I mean, he's so great in Deep Space Nine. He's so great as Quark.
I have an idea. Let's never use those whip weapons again.
Yeah.
Yeah, only if they'd done the Raiders gag where they reach for their phasers and. Oh, now he's getting pulled into the evil oil slick, as they called it.
Yeah.
Armis has got him now.
Oh, it is the eyebrows. Look. So we can't go back, but then if we see another shot of Data, you'll kind of see it. Like it's not that they're gone, but they're really
just painted
downplayed,
out. Yeah.
As opposed to in Encounter at Farpoint, they're really prominent and dark.
Whoa!
This is actually.
This is like Under the Skin.
Right.
Years before Scarlett Johansson was in Under the Skin, they did the version with Riker in Next Generation.
That's right. I remember that was actually in the preview of the coming attractions next time on Star Trek. That
Evil
shot was in, I
Tar.
thought, like evil skin eats Tasha Yar.
Yeah, this isn't David Cronenberg. Yeah.
No, but it could have been.
Oh, but now they finally got him in the.
It's Under the Skin of Evil.
They finally got rid of the uniform, and now he's under the blanket, the special diagnostic blanket.
Well, I hope the pink Jello is being preserved well over there in the corner. That's all I got to say. The pink and blue Jello containers.
The Jello pudding pops.
Jello pudding pop. Is it too soon for? Yeah, probably.
Oh, is this when they're going to destroy the ship? Which episode was this?
All of them.
Oh, was it Heart of Glory? I think it was Heart of Glory when they're going to destroy the ship, right? The Klingons had taken over.
Yeah.
And then at the end when they don't, it was like, does the first officer concur? Yes, I most definitely do, in fact, concur. It was actually pretty good on Treksperts.
Oh, what a bad countdown clock. Oh,
Yeah, that's
That's terrible. That looks like in the studio when we have our podcast countdown clock.
Yeah. And this is Heart of Glory, as we're...
Heart of Glory, which was really the first decent episode. No, it wasn't the first. It was one of the early, one of the first decent episodes of the show.
Yeah. Because again, there was
Watchable.
real conflict on the show. And it actually got the actors to bring things to it that weren't just...
Of course, the first of many episodes for Vaughn Armstrong. He would come back many times. And of course, famously in Enterprise, he played a Starfleet admiral. Didn't he play Admiral Forrest, which was their tip of the hat to DeForest Kelly?
Okay, now... Here's the thing that bugs me about some of these clips. Okay, and this is just because I'm insane and I'm just very...
It's not Riker's POV.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, wait a second, how does he remember that? It's like, I'm like, what? And it wouldn't have taken anything just to cut all of that out. And it actually would have been better if it had been completely inside of his POV.
Because they weren't thinking that 30 years later, a bunch of assholes would be sitting poring over it and talking about how stupid it is and be completely disrespectful of all the hard work. They just want to get it done and go home for the summer. Can you blame them? They've been working nonstop. Those stupid writers, that damn writer's strike, they lost out on a ton of money. And now they've been working like dogs, probably going deep, lots of overtime.
Bad.
Oh, that's going to get that evil virus.
Well, here's the problem. His neck is too long.
I got good news for you guys. I think we're all cured of COVID now because we've suffered through this episode. All these bad memories will purge the virus.
Well, I wouldn't want to wish this on everyone in the world.
Oh, I love the pushing.
Right.
Now we're going to a clip.
Push in through his nose. Oh,
yeah.
We're going back to the Genesis effect.
I love this shot. Oh my God. Nope, but it's gone. We're not going to stay there.
No. Oh my God. We're doing
They ducked out of the way of a phaser beam.
Every hero needs a montage.
No, it's got me.
We're using reuse of the clips. It's clips of the clips. You guys.
I know they're going back to clips from previous episodes they've already shown.
It's clips.
Ow.
It's the clip show. Oh, whoa.
Oh, my skin.
Oh, Silkowski, hard against
after
Silkowski.
all the controversy, the brain blowing up, the scanner shot got that they actually put it in the clip show.
Yep. Oh, I love that shot.
Well, I love it because it's like this terrible shot on film, but then everything's composite on video. So it's this cheesy video composite thing. It looks like out of the Star Lost.
Well, it's done on the animation, done on the paint box and all that sort of stuff, and it's fine. But
it's the ambition of the shot that I love. And
I love it. I love conspiracy, particularly all that 7 Days in May stuff for the first 20 minutes.
Right when these
open them up.
They're talking about all the captains nobody knows.
Yep, Una Karapletes.
That's right. That's my porn star name.
Ryan Sipe.
Yeah, Ryan
I can
Sipe.
still name the captains.
Ryan
Conspiracy.
Sipe was the host.
I don't remember what I
America's
had for
Got
lunch,
Talent.
but I can name the captains from 30 years ago from Conspiracy.
Oh,
my
thank
God.
goodness.
Oh, guys, he's better.
All those clips have made me feel better.
Now he's got these little holes in his skull, and that's weird.
Now I realize that there actually are a bunch of terrible episodes that
Could ask you the same question.
Yeah, it's reminding us of like some of these episodes that weren't so great.
Let's hope that we don't make those mistakes again.
You know why Riker's smiling? Because Pulaski's not coming back.
Oh, yes, we
Hey.
all those people who like would make fun of the original show, who were like these next generation fanatics, who like dismiss the original show. Let me tell you something. Next generation, the original show never got this bad. Spock's brain is so much more entertaining than this. And The Children Shall Lead is better than this.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key, right? It's never boring. And I think
Never
it is a greater sin than stupid is boring. I would much rather
I totally
be
agree.
dumb than bored.
And I
Absolutely.
think Data's hair is a bit taller
Yeah, I think
and
you're right.
less greased back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you're
and,
right.
and a little lighter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wish they would go in and fix that with their hypo spray. Fix that thing on his head.
Yeah,
Like,
We left the tracking markers on.
poor Gene.
Oh, well.
That's right. He got paid. He got
Yeah,
paid.
he
He doesn't care. We're all the same now. So,
wow.
creative. Because the last episode, Tracy Torme was involved
Yeah,
with, or
Right.
and
What are
then
the
he was long gone.
unsung heroes? Did he die? Is he?
Who, Tracy?
No, or is he around?
No.
He's around.
No, but Tracy is very. I was very good friends with Tracy, and went to his wedding and used to go to his house to play volleyball and everything. But he, after his dad died, Mel Torme, I think he just left him so much money. I think, Tracy was so sick after Sliders of the way he got treated by the network. He's like, didn't want to put up with it anymore. I mean, he got rewritten on his movies like Fire in the Sky, and he got rewritten on, on Next Generation. And I think he just didn't have to deal with the shit anymore.
Right.
So I think he's become not a recluse, but I just think I haven't talked to him in a long time. But the last time I saw him was when I interviewed him for the 50-year mission. And we were at the deli for like 4 hours. And we talked about getting together, but he didn't even have email. Like, I had to call him, which is never good for me. Like, I don't like calling people. So, and he's like, he does it. He made a big thing. I don't have email. I don't do email. So, and it's just like, I haven't called him in a long time. Plus, he liked to have me over for football, and I hate football. So,
Well,
I hate
what
dogs
happened.
and I hate football. Better than that.
but I really like Tracy. He was great, and what he did with Sliders, before he left Sliders, I thought he.
Oh, the show, not the hamburger.
Not the burgers.
No,
that
he
are
didn't
kinda
make
stuck
burgers.
with
He
you.
actually had a TV show with Jerry O'Connell.
Yes.
Right, which I think didn't George R.R. Martin work on that show?
On Sliders?
Yeah.
He did. He might have, but it was later. I think it was after Tracy left.
Okay.
Because Tracy created it, and it was on Fox. And I think after they made him do the dinosaur episode, I think he was kind of like, I got to get off the show.
Screw dinosaurs, man.
Dinosaurs
You know
are
what? Nobody
stupid.
cares about dinosaurs.
But Tracy's
never
super
be big.
talented, creative, really creative guy, and I really, and a big Star Trek fan. And he loved Gene. He loved Gene Roddenberry. Gene was very good to him, but he really bumped heads with Maurice Hurley like a lot of people did, because he just wasn't as ambitious.
So,
I think
He didn't need to be. He was Mel Torme's son.
that's right.
Diddy-bop.
So that was Shades of Grey.
It was.
There you go. Shades of Grey. Thank you, Ashley, for picking this.
You're so
was-
welcome.
That was a hoot.
Bring
I-
A
you know
hoot
what?
and a half.
And I think we got to see all of the individual shades.
There are many shades of gray in the future, and we got to see some of them tonight.
Nothing's just black and white. Oh my
dear.
God. There was a Grateful Dead song. Remember one of their last big top 40 hits was like The Shades of Grey, wasn't it?
Something like
You're asking them
I never liked Grateful Dead either.
Yeah. Do I look like a deadhead to you?
a little bit.
No.
A little bit.
Okay, well, guys, this was fun. I'm glad you could join us for another briefing room, Treksperts Briefing Room. We'll be doing these intermittently every couple of weeks as part of the Inglorious Treksperts podcast, which you can listen to wherever you get your podcasts.
Just to shake it up a bit.
You'll listen to our other podcasts, Best Movies Never Made, The 430 Movie, Disco Nights, with Chase Masterson and Ryan Britt as they talk about contemporary Star Trek. And as always, you can follow us on Inglorious Treksperts on Facebook and Instagram and, of course, Twitter to find out what's going on in the life of Inglorious Treksperts. And we hope that you'll join us next week for an all-new episode and future weeks where we go in-depth and undercover exploring your favorite and least favorite episodes of Star Trek as part of the Briefing Room. So keep on trekking ingloriously, of course. Until next week, the Briefing Room is closed.
Scott, would you repeat what you just told us?
About an hour ago, bridge control started going crazy. Levers shifting by themselves, buttons being pushed, instrument readings changing.
And on my monitor screen, I could see Mitchell smiling each time it happened, as if his ship and crew were almost a toy for his amusement.
This show was produced by Dean Devlin and Mark A. Altman and is an Electric Surge Network production.